The Galactic Council's emergency session buzzed with tension as holographic displays showed the same devastating pattern across dozens of star systems. Admiral Zexkar of the Threnodai Empire stood before the assembled delegates, his four arms gesturing at the floating data streams that painted a picture of unprecedented failure. 17 different species have attempted invasion or colonization of the third planet in the Sol system, Zexkar announced, his voice carrying the weight of bitter experience. Every single expedition has vanished without trace. No survivors, no distress signals, nothing. The council chamber erupted in multilingual chatter. Representatives from across the galaxy leaned forward in their environmental suits and breathing apparatus, each species trying to process the implications. The crystalline hive mind of Arcturus hummed in harmonic frequencies, while the gaseous beings of the Nebula Collective swirled in agitated patterns. Commander HFY of the reptilian hegemony stood next, her scaled hide reflecting the chamber's bioluminescent lighting. "The humans call their world Earth," she hissed, forked tongue flicking nervously. "We lost 3 entire fleets attempting to establish mining colonies in their outer system. They never even reached the planet's surface. The pattern is always the same," added General Vorth from the Silicon-based Confederacy, his rocky exterior crackling with electrical discharges. "Ships enter the system, establish preliminary communications, begin approach procedures, and then silence. Complete communications blackout, followed by total loss of contact." Ambassador Quirrell of the Tentacled Syndicate writhed her appendages in distress. "Our xenobiologists calculated that Earth should be an easy conquest. The humans lack faster-than-light travel, have no unified planetary government, and their weapons technology appears primitive compared to galactic standards. Yet somehow, they've achieved a 100% kill rate against every military force sent against them." The assembled delegates fell silent as the magnitude of the situation settled over them. Zexkar manipulated the holographic display, showing tactical recordings from the few long-range observation probes that had managed to escape Earth's sphere of influence. "Watch this footage from the Klaxon Empire's last expedition," he commanded. The hologram shifted to show sleek alien warships approaching Earth's moon. The vessels were massive, each one capable of sterilizing a planet's surface. The recording showed initial scans of Earth revealing a blue-green world teeming with life, its inhabitants seemingly unaware of the approaching threat. The Klaxon fleet consisted of 47 heavy cruisers and 3 planet-killer dreadnoughts, Zexkar narrated as the ships moved into formation. They followed standard invasion protocols: establish orbital dominance, eliminate military infrastructure, demand surrender. The recording showed the alien fleet taking positions around Earth's orbital space. Communication arrays activated, sending the standard galactic conquest ultimatum toward the planet's surface. The timestamp indicated 12 hours of waiting for a response. Then, something changed. The human planet's electromagnetic emissions suddenly spiked. Radio frequencies that had been carrying primitive entertainment broadcasts shifted to coordinated military channels. Satellite networks that appeared to be simple communication systems began transmitting encrypted data at rates that made even advanced alien computers struggle to intercept. "This is where it gets interesting," THYSS interjected, her reptilian eyes fixed on the display. "Watch their orbital debris." The hologram zoomed in on what initially appeared to be space junk surrounding Earth. Ancient satellites, discarded rocket stages, and seemingly derelict space stations drifted in lazy orbits. But as the alien fleet watched, these objects began to move with purpose. "Those aren't debris fields," Vorth rumbled, his silicon-based form generating sparks of realization. "They're camouflaged defense platforms." The recording captured the moment when Earth's true defensive capabilities revealed themselves. Harmless-looking satellites unfolded weapon arrays. Abandoned space stations powered up massive energy cannons. Even the defunct rocket boosters contained hidden missile systems that had been lying dormant for decades. The humans had turned their entire orbital space into a weapon, Quirrell observed, her tentacles twitching with nervous energy. Everything we dismissed as technological waste was actually part of an integrated defense network. But the most shocking revelation came when the camera focused on Earth's surface. Cities that had appeared to house civilian populations were simultaneously launching coordinated strikes. Every major population center revealed hidden military installations. Manufacturing facilities retooled themselves in real time to produce weapons. Even agricultural regions deployed surface-to-orbit missiles from concealed silos. The entire planet mobilized in less than 6 hours, Zexkar continued, his voice filled with grudging respect. Every human settlement, every industrial center, every piece of infrastructure was simultaneously military and civilian. They had prepared for invasion so thoroughly that their entire civilization was one massive defensive system. The recording ended with the last transmission from the Klaxon fleet, a simple message stating that they were retreating immediately, followed by static. None of them made it out of the system, HYSS confirmed grimly. 3 months after the Council's emergency session, the Galactic Intelligence Division had compiled the most comprehensive study of human warfare ever attempted. Director MXL of the Psionic Collective materialized her ethereal form before a smaller gathering of military specialists, her telepathic emanations carrying waves of deep concern. We've analyzed every available record of human conflict throughout their recorded history. MXL projected directly into the minds of the assembled officers. What we've discovered explains why no alien force has ever survived contact with Earth. The briefing room dimmed as holographic displays showed timeline after timeline of human warfare. Unlike the clean, efficient conflicts preferred by most galactic civilizations, human battles were chaotic, brutal, and seemingly endless. Observe their approach to combat. MXL continued, highlighting a series of historical battles. Most species in the galaxy fight to establish dominance, claim territory, or eliminate specific threats. Humans fight to completely destroy their enemy's ability to ever threaten them again. General Krex of the militant horde studied the data with his single large eye, his cybernetic implants processing the information at superhuman speed. Their tactics make no logical sense, he growled. They sacrifice strategic advantages for symbolic victories. They continue fighting even when mathematically certain of defeat. That's precisely the point, MXL replied, her form shimmering with intellectual excitement. Human psychology doesn't follow galactic norms for rational behavior. They possess something we've termed adaptive paranoia combined with suicidal determination. The hologram shifted to show human military doctrine from various time periods. Ancient warriors throwing themselves against overwhelming odds. Medieval armies fighting to the last soldier to defend worthless patches of ground. Modern militaries developing weapons specifically designed to ensure mutual destruction. Notice this pattern. MXL highlighted specific tactical decisions. When facing superior technology, humans don't retreat to regroup. They immediately begin adapting, improvising, and creating new weapons specifically designed to counter their enemy's advantages. Commander Vex of the Stealth Corps flickered in and out of visible light spectrum as she analyzed the data. Their technological development is completely unpredictable. Most species follow logical progression paths. Humans leap from primitive tools to advanced weapons in single generations when threatened. The display showed humanity's rapid technological advancement during periods of conflict. Stone Age, tribes creating complex siege weapons within years of encountering them. Industrial Age nations developing nuclear weapons mere decades after discovering atomic theory. Information Age societies creating artificial intelligence systems specifically for military applications. But the most disturbing pattern is their approach to total war. MXL continued, her psionic emanations tinged with something resembling fear. When humans perceive an existential threat, they abandon all restraints. Every ethical consideration, every moral limitation, every social taboo becomes expendable. The hologram displayed documentation of humanity's most desperate conflicts. Cities transformed into fortresses, civilian populations manufacturing weapons in schools and hospitals, children trained as combatants, agricultural systems converted to chemical weapon production. They weaponize everything, observed Admiral Korth of the Naval Federation, his aquatic suit bubbling with agitation. Their art becomes propaganda. Their science becomes military research. Their entertainment media becomes training simulation. Their entire civilization reconfigures itself around the principle of victory at any cost. MXL manipulated the display to show intercepted human communications during various historical conflicts. Listen to their language during wartime. She projected the translated conversations into the minds of the assembled officers. The mental transmissions carried human voices discussing strategies with casual acceptance of horrific casualties. Military leaders planning operations that would sacrifice millions to achieve tactical advantages. Scientists enthusiastically describing weapons designed to cause maximum suffering. Politicians debating the acceptable percentage of their population to lose in exchange for enemy defeat. They discuss genocide with the same emotional tone other species use for crop rotation. General Crux observed his cybernetic implants struggling to process the psychological profiles. Complete extermination of enemy populations is considered a standard military option. And, most significantly, MXL continued, they're incapable of surrender in the traditional sense. When facing annihilation, instead of negotiating terms or accepting defeat, humans invariably choose to inflict maximum damage on their enemies before dying. The display showed countless examples of human forces fighting to complete destruction rather than surrendering. Military units continuing combat with broken weapons. Wounded soldiers using their own bodies as weapons. Dying commanders ordering final strikes, even as their positions were overrun. Their psychological makeup creates a unique strategic problem. Vex analyzed, her stealth capabilities automatically activated by the stress of the briefing. Defeating humans militarily requires not just overwhelming their forces, but completely eliminating their capacity to retaliate. Any surviving humans will continue developing new weapons and tactics indefinitely. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Every species in the galaxy followed logical patterns of conflict escalation. Diplomacy, limited warfare, surrender, negotiated peace. Humans appear to skip directly from initial contact to total warfare, with no intermediate steps. We've identified why previous invasion fleets disappeared. MXL concluded, her psionic emanations carrying grim certainty. The humans didn't just repel attacks. They studied each alien force, reverse-engineered their technology, adapted their tactics, and then systematically hunted down every single enemy vessel to prevent any information from reaching the rest of the galaxy. Admiral Korth's aquatic suit bubbled more rapid. By now, human military capabilities incorporate technological advances from 17 different galactic civilizations. They become exponentially more dangerous with each failed invasion. The covert observation mission required the galaxy's most advanced stealth technology. Captain Zephyr of the Shadow Fleet commanded a ship designed to be completely undetectable, its quantum phase hull capable of existing slightly outside normal space-time. Her mission was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. Infiltrate the Sol system and discover exactly what happened to 17 different invasion fleets. Approaching the outer system now, reported Lieutenant Nixal from the sensor station, his insectoid form clicking nervously as data streams flowed across his multiple visual processors. No signs of human detection. We're maintaining quantum phase differential at optimal stealth parameters. Zephyr studied the tactical display with growing unease. The Sol system appeared deceptively peaceful. A simple yellow star surrounded by planets, asteroids, and the usual cosmic debris. But intelligence reports suggested this star system had become a graveyard for some of the galaxy's most powerful military forces. Begin passive scanning of the asteroid belt, HFY ordered, her breathing apparatus recycling the specialized atmosphere her species required. Look for any debris signatures from previous invasion fleets. What they discovered defied all expectations. The asteroid belt wasn't natural. Careful analysis revealed that it consisted primarily of compressed debris from destroyed spacecraft, organized into orbital patterns that suggested deliberate construction. The humans had taken the wreckage of alien invasion fleets and restructured it into a defensive barrier around their inner system. "Captain," whispered communications officer Veltar, her crystalline form refracting the bridge's emergency lighting into nervous rainbows. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the belt. The humans have weaponized the debris field." Each asteroid was revealed to be a carefully disguised weapons platform. The compressed hulks of alien dreadnoughts had been hollowed out and converted into missile batteries. Fragments of destroyed cruisers had been fused together to create massive energy cannons. Even the smallest pieces of wreckage had been collected and converted into automated defense drones. "They've turned our own ships against us," Nixal observed, his compound eyes reflecting the horrifying efficiency of the human construction. Every invasion fleet that came here became raw materials for Earth's defenses. But the asteroid belt was only the beginning. As the stealth ship penetrated deeper into the system, more disturbing discoveries emerged. The gas giants' moons had been converted into manufacturing centers, their surfaces covered with industrial complexes that were clearly producing weapons on a massive scale. "Scan the orbital manufacturing stations," HFY commanded, her species' natural camouflage abilities unconsciously activating as stress flooded her system. The results were staggering. The humans had established production facilities that incorporated technology from every species that had attempted invasion. Threnodai energy weapons were being mass-produced alongside reptilian armor systems. Crystalline computing matrices were integrated with silicon-based manufacturing protocols. Tentacled biotechnology was being combined with gaseous propulsion systems. "They're not just using our technology," Veltar realized, her crystalline matrix vibrating with fear. "They're improving it. These weapons are more advanced than anything the original species possessed." The stealth ship continued its reconnaissance, approaching Earth's orbital space with extreme caution. What they found there challenged every assumption about human technological capabilities. Earth itself was surrounded by what appeared to be a solid shell of interconnected space stations, satellites, and defensive platforms. The humans had literally enclosed their planet in a protective barrier composed entirely of repurposed alien technology. "Run spectral analysis on the orbital shell," HFY ordered, though part of her already knew what they would find. The shell was modular, constructed from the hulls and superstructures of destroyed invasion fleets. But the humans had done more than simply weld alien ships together. They had created an integrated system that combined the best defensive features of every galactic civilization. Threnodai shield generators powered reptilian armor plating. Crystalline sensor arrays were linked to silicon computational cores. Gaseous adaptive systems were integrated with tentacled biological computing networks. The humans had created a defensive system that was superior to anything any single galactic civilization could produce. "Captain, we need to leave immediately," Nixal recommended, his insectoid form trembling as new data appeared on his screens. "I'm detecting active scanning beams. Something is trying to penetrate our quantum phase stealth." But it was too late. The humans had already found them. The first indication was a subtle shift in local space-time that shouldn't have been detectable by any known technology. The quantum phase differential that made their ship invisible was being systematically analyzed and countered. "They're modulating subspace frequencies," Veltar reported in panic, her crystalline form flickering as she tried to maintain communication systems. "Whatever they're using can track quantum phase signatures." HFY realized with growing horror that the humans had developed countermeasures specifically designed to detect the galaxy's most advanced stealth technology. But how is that possible? No human ship had ever encountered shadow fleet vessels before. Unless, she whispered to herself, they've encountered other species with similar capabilities. The terrible truth became clear. Somewhere among the 17 invasion fleets that had vanished, at least one had possessed advanced stealth technology. The humans had captured it, studied it, and developed specific countermeasures. Emergency jump preparation, HFY commanded, but the ship's navigation systems were already being disrupted by some form of artificial gravity well generator. Jump drive is offline, reported engineer KexTOS from the propulsion section, his mechanical appendages frantically adjusting control systems. Something is preventing faster-than-light travel throughout the entire system. The humans hadn't just learned to detect stealth ships. They had learned to trap them. Captain, Nick Sal's voice carried the weight of absolute terror. I'm detecting multiple vessels approaching our position. They're using propulsion systems that incorporate technology from all known galactic civilizations. On the tactical display, ships unlike anything in galactic records were converging on their position. Each vessel was clearly of human construction, but incorporated design elements from dozens of different species. The result was a fleet that looked like it had been assembled from the nightmares of every galactic military force. They know we're here, HFY acknowledged grimly. And they've been expecting us. The human ships surrounded the stealth vessel with movements that demonstrated impossible coordination. Captain HFY watched in fascination and terror as the alien vessels executed maneuvers that incorporated tactical knowledge from across the galaxy, but refined and perfected beyond original specifications. They're not attacking, observed Lieutenant Nick Sal, his compound eyes tracking the formation patterns with growing confusion. Standard galactic protocol would be immediate destruction of detected infiltrators. Instead, the human fleet was maintaining a respectful distance while broadcasting communication signals on frequencies that matched HFY species' optimal reception range. The universal translator indicated an incoming message, delivered in perfectly accented psionic collective formal diplomatic language. Shadow, fleet vessel. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Earth Defense Coordination. We invite you to dock with our diplomatic station for formal first contact procedures. We guarantee safe passage and return to your home territories following discussion. HFY's breathing apparatus cycled nervously as she processed the implications. Humans were offering diplomatic contact rather than destruction. No galactic intelligence report had mentioned human capacity for diplomacy with infiltrating forces. It could be a trap, suggested Communications Officer Veltar, her crystalline form refracting anxiety patterns throughout the spectrum. All previous contact with humans has resulted in complete annihilation. But something in the human transmission suggested otherwise. The diplomatic protocols being used were not just translated versions of human language, but demonstrated deep understanding of psionic collective cultural nuances that should have been impossible for humans to acquire. Captain, Nick Sal reported with growing amazement. I'm analyzing the human fleet composition. These ships incorporate technology from every species that has attempted invasion, but they're not just copied systems. The humans have improved everything. The tactical display revealed vessels that should have been impossible to construct. Energy signatures indicated power generation systems that combined Threnody plasma cores with crystalline focusing arrays and silicon processing matrices. Propulsion systems that merged gaseous adaptive fields with tentacled bioneural networks. Weapons platforms that integrated the most effective elements from 17 different military traditions. Response incoming, Veltar announced. They're transmitting detailed technical specifications for docking procedures that account for our quantum phase differential. Captain, they shouldn't know enough about our technology to safely interface with our systems. HFY made the decision that would change galactic history. Accept their invitation, but maintain all defensive systems and prepare for immediate departure. The human diplomatic station was unlike anything in galactic records. Instead of the sterile military installations favored by most civilizations, The humans had constructed a facility that appeared designed specifically for interspecies contact. Multiple docking bays accommodated different atmospheric requirements. Environmental systems provided life support for dozens of different biological types. Even the internal layout demonstrated understanding of various species' spatial orientation needs. "Welcome aboard, Captain HFY." Admiral Chen greeted them in the station's central reception area. The human was smaller than expected, lacking the intimidating physical characteristics that intelligence reports had attributed to the species. But her eyes carried an intensity that suggested formidable intelligence. "You know my name?" HFY observed, her species' natural camouflage abilities unconsciously cycling through defensive patterns. "We know many things," Chen replied calmly, "including the fact that 17 different galactic civilizations have sent invasion fleets to our system over the past several decades. We've been expecting reconnaissance missions to follow." The reception area was filled with objects that shouldn't have existed. Art pieces that combined aesthetic elements from dozens of species. Technology displays that showcased integrated systems no single civilization could have developed. Cultural artifacts that demonstrated deep understanding of galactic history and philosophy. "You've been studying us," HFY accused, though without the hostility she had expected to feel. "Intensively," Chen confirmed. "Every invasion fleet that came here taught us something new about galactic civilization. We learned your languages, your technologies, your military doctrines, your cultural values, and your historical conflicts." Lieutenant Nixal's scanning equipment was detecting atmospheric compositions that perfectly matched the requirements of multiple species. "Captain, this facility is designed to host representatives from every major galactic civilization simultaneously. They've been preparing for diplomatic contact." Chen led them through corridors that demonstrated impossible architectural complexity. Sections designed for aquatic species connected seamlessly to atmospheric areas. Gravitational fields adjusted automatically for different species' comfort requirements. Lighting spectrums shifted to accommodate various visual systems. "We want to show you something," Chen announced, leading them to an observation deck that overlooked Earth's surface. The planet below was transformed beyond recognition, but not in the way galactic intelligence had predicted. Instead of a militarized fortress world, Earth appeared to be a carefully balanced integration of technological advancement and environmental preservation. Cities that incorporated architectural styles from across the galaxy. Industrial complexes that used production methods from dozens of civilizations, but refined for maximum efficiency and minimal environmental impact. "You expected to find a military dictatorship," Chen observed, noting HFY's confusion. "Instead, you're seeing what happens when humans have access to the combined knowledge of 17 advanced civilizations." "But the invasion fleets," Veltar interjected, her crystalline form refracting bewilderment across multiple spectrums. "Every military force sent to Earth was completely destroyed." "Yes," Chen confirmed matter-of-factly. "Every invasion fleet was eliminated with extreme prejudice. But not before we extracted every piece of useful information they carried." The observation deck's displays activated, showing detailed reconstructions of each invasion attempt. The humans had recorded everything: tactical approaches, weapon systems, communication protocols, technological capabilities, and, most importantly, the cultural and political structures that had motivated each species to attempt conquest. "We learned something crucial from studying your various civilizations," Chen continued. "Every species in the galaxy shares one fundamental characteristic: the belief that military conquest is an acceptable method of resource acquisition." HFY felt a chill that had nothing to do with atmospheric conditions. "And humans don't share that belief. Humans consider unprovoked invasion to be an unforgivable crime," Chen replied, her voice carrying undertones of absolute certainty. "When someone comes to our home intending to kill our families and steal our resources, we don't just defend ourselves. We ensure that the threat can never emerge again." The displays showed the systematic dismantling of each invasion fleet. But alongside the military destruction was evidence of careful preservation. Alien personnel who had survived initial combat, technological samples that had been recovered intact, cultural artifacts that had been cataloged and studied. You kept prisoners, Nixal realized. We kept teachers, Chun corrected. Every surviving member of every invasion fleet has spent years helping us understand galactic civilization. In exchange, we've provided them with comfortable living conditions and the opportunity to witness humanity's true nature. The shocking revelation hung in the air like a gravitational anomaly. The humans hadn't just defeated 17 invasion fleets. They had converted captured personnel into willing collaborators. Admiral Chun led the stunned reconnaissance team deeper into the diplomatic station, revealing chambers that challenged every assumption about human nature. In vast biodome sections, former members of invasion fleets lived in carefully recreated home environments, working alongside human researchers in apparent harmony. I don't understand, Captain Zephyr admitted, her camouflage abilities cycling through patterns of complete bewilderment. Your species is documented as xenophobic, militaristic, and incapable of interspecies cooperation. Those reports were based on observations of humans under military threat, Chen explained, gesturing toward a research laboratory where Threnodai scientists worked with human engineers on advanced propulsion systems. You never saw how humans behave when we're not fighting for survival. Through transparent barriers, the reconnaissance team observed scenes that contradicted every piece of galactic intelligence about humanity. Reptilian military strategists engaged in peaceful debate with human philosophers about optimal defensive architectures. Crystalline mathematicians collaborated with human physicists on unified field theories. Gaseous artists worked with human musicians to create impossible symphonies that existed across multiple dimensional planes. But they were invaders, protested Lieutenant Nixal, his insectoid form clicking with nervous confusion. They came here to conquer your world. They came here following orders from civilizations that view conquest as normal, Chen replied calmly. Once they understood that humans see unprovoked invasion as murder, most of them chose to help us prevent future attacks rather than return to societies that had sent them to die. The tour continued through sections of the station that demonstrated the full scope of human integration with galactic knowledge. Medical facilities that combined healing techniques from dozens of species. Engineering workshops that produced technology superior to anything any single civilization had achieved. Educational centers where human children learned alongside young members of various alien species. This is impossible, whispered communications officer Veltar, her crystalline matrix vibrating with frequencies of disbelief. No species in galactic history has ever successfully integrated technologies and knowledge from multiple civilizations. No species in galactic history has ever been subjected to invasion by 17 different civilizations, Chen pointed out. Humans had powerful motivation to learn everything possible about potential threats. The observation deck's main display activated, showing a comprehensive analysis of galactic military capabilities. Every weapon system, every defensive technology, every tactical doctrine from across known space had been cataloged, studied, and improved upon. We know exactly how every galactic civilization fights, Chun continued, her voice carrying undertones of absolute confidence. We understand your logistics, your communication protocols, your command structures, and, most importantly, your psychological limitations. Zephyr realized with growing horror that humanity now possessed military knowledge superior to any force in the galaxy. But more disturbing was the implication that humans had acquired this knowledge through systematic analysis rather than natural technological development. You could conquer the entire galaxy, she observed. We could, Chun agreed matter-of-factly. But we won't. Humans don't conquer other peoples. We defend ourselves from conquest. The distinction seemed meaningless to galactic thinking, but Chen's next revelation demonstrated the crucial difference in human psychology. Every species that has attempted invasion continues to exist, she announced, activating displays that showed the current status of 17 different homeworlds. We've been monitoring your civilizations to ensure that no follow-up invasions are planned, but we haven't retaliated against your populations. The displays showed detailed intelligence about every major galactic civilization: population centers, industrial capacity, military installations, political leadership. The humans possessed targeting information that would allow complete destruction of any species in known space. You have the capability to eliminate any threat before it develops, Nixal realized, his compound eyes reflecting the terrifying scope of human intelligence gathering. We have the capability to ensure our survival, Chun corrected. The difference is crucial. Humans don't seek to dominate other species. We seek to prevent other species from dominating us. The final revelation came when Chun led them to the station's central command center. The chamber contained communication arrays that maintained real-time contact with every major civilization in the galaxy. Economic monitoring systems that tracked resource flows across interstellar space. Cultural analysis networks that predicted political developments on hundreds of worlds. We've been watching all of you, Chen announced calmly. Every government, every military organization, every potential threat. Not to plan attacks, but to ensure that no one else decides to visit Earth with hostile intentions. The implications were staggering. Humanity had evolved from an isolated pre-spaceflight civilization to the galaxy's dominant surveillance power in less than a century. But they had done so without expanding beyond their home system or threatening any other species. Why? Zephyr asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. Because the next invasion fleet might not give us the luxury of learning from capture personnel, Chen replied grimly. 17 different species have tried to kill us. We can't assume that the 18th attempt will be as manageable. The reconnaissance team found themselves facing an unprecedented situation. Humanity had become the galaxy's most dangerous military force, but only as a defensive measure. They possessed the capability to destroy any civilization, but had chosen to monitor rather than attack. What happens now? Veltar inquired, her crystalline form refracting patterns of uncertainty. Now you return to the Galactic Council with a message, Chen replied, handing Zephyr a data crystal that contained comprehensive information about human capabilities and intentions. Earth is permanently off-limits to military action. Any attempt at invasion, conquest, or colonization will result in the complete elimination of the attacking force. The data crystal contained detailed technical specifications that proved human claims. Weapon systems that could sterilize planets from interstellar distances. Defensive technologies that made invasion impossible. Intelligence networks that could predict and prevent military actions before they were implemented. But Chun continued, her tone shifting to something resembling warmth. Earth is open to peaceful diplomatic contact. We're interested in trade, cultural exchange, and cooperative research. Humans prefer friends to enemies. As the reconnaissance team prepared to depart, Chen offered one final observation that would haunt galactic thinking for generations. Every species that has attacked us shared one fundamental assumption: that military conquest was an acceptable solution to resource competition. Humans learned something different from our history. The most effective defense against conquest is to become so dangerous that no one dares attempt it, while remaining so reasonable that no one wants to. The stealth ship departed Earth's system carrying information that would transform galactic civilization. Humanity had evolved beyond the cycle of conquest and retaliation that defined interspecies relations. They had become the galaxy's ultimate defensive force, dedicated to ensuring their own survival while posing no threat to anyone who left them alone. No alien would ever again attempt invasion of Earth, because now they finally understood why no alien had ever survived the attempt. Humans didn't just defeat invaders. They learned from them, adapted their technology, and became stronger with each attack. Earth had become not just unconquerable, but increasingly dangerous to threaten. The galaxy's most feared military force had achieved ultimate victory through ultimate defense, forever changing the nature of interstellar relations.